So, first and foremost, I want to start off by saying Barakathon, Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shah. And I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shah, Bahashim, Rakakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. And shout out to the Hopeful Let, starting with the 144,000. Shalom. All right, so, I want to say, El Pastor Tahar had uploaded a video last night. I ended up watching this morning when I woke up, and I went on to watch, good bit more of it. Probably got less than 10 minutes left of the video, but in the video, we're gonna bring out a precept. But in the video, it was like a dude, brother, Sanchez, something like that, and he was just, like basically his whole point of that video is just going into, he don't believe in a God, or he don't believe in God, right? And he was basically like, he said the name of Yahweh Shah, right? The son of the Heavenly Father, right? The only begotten son. He said the name Yahweh Shah a good bit of times in that video. And El Pastor Har only played, I wouldn't even say he didn't even play 10 minutes of the video, if I'm not mistaken. I can say he definitely didn't play 15 minutes of it, right? But he didn't even play that much of the video, right? And the guy mentioned Yahweh Shah name a lot. So he know the truth, right? He know the truth, And it's just these people, they choose not to choose the fear of Yahweh Shah, right? They make the decision to clown and to mock, because that's their pride. They caught up in their own way, right? And we know, Christian tells us, pride go before a fall, right? But the point is, right? Elder Apostle Tahar started off with this precept, that was Zephaniah 3. I'm gonna bring it out in NLT as well. Let's see. Let's go to it here first in the KJV. Zephaniah 3, 19 and 20. Well, he brought 19, but I'm going to read 19 and 20, right? I went and read Zephaniah, right? The Most High going to bring that destruction of the nations, and, we're going to be restored. We're going to be restored, right? That's what Jake don't understand. Jake don't understand that, these other nations and this kingdom here, right, is going to be destroyed. And Israel is going to be put back into our former glory, right? I was watching the lesson earlier. The Apostle Kabar was going into that. Let's see, what was that? Amos. Bear with me. Amos 9, right? Because you got to understand, we're gonna be put back into our glory, man. Right? We're gonna be put back into our righteous state. See, Jake don't understand that though. But without faith, it's impossible, right? And that's why, not to get too deep into it, but this faith is a gift, man. Right? This faith is a gift, right? So it says, in that day I will raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen, and close up the breaches thereof. That tabernacle of David is the elect. Everything going to be brought together. The nations are going to be brought together, beginning with the elect, right? It says, in that day I will raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen, right? Because when you go to it, the nations were together in the house of David, right? And it split after Solomon died, right? With Jeroboam and Rehoboam, but understanding that's going to be brought back together, right? And beginning with the elect, right? It says, and close up the breaches thereof, right? And when I was thinking the breach thereof is, the split, right? Yeah, the breach is a difference between the tribes, right? Judah and Ephraim, the split, right? Because you understand the history, right? With Rehoboam with the two golden calves or whatnot, but they're gonna be brought together. Judah should not vex Ephraim. Judah should not vex Ephraim. Ephraim should not vex Judah. The tribes gonna be brought back together. It's gonna be restored, right? And I will raise up his ruins, and I will build it as in the days of old. So we're gonna be brought back into our glory. Our kingdom is gonna be built back up. This kingdom is gonna be torn down, and our kingdom is gonna be built back up, man. Right? Let's see. So I got right here my notes, right? I will read this note. It said, "We in that day now, the hopeful elect is the tabernacle of David. The breaches is the difference between the tribes, especially Judah and Ephraim, right? It said that was worn back in the past. The ruins after King Solomon brought the ruins of our nation, right? By 7 AD, right? Because like I say, the kingdom split after Solomon because Solomon let the hearts of these women. It's like Solomon let the women turn his heart away from the Most High, right? And so the Most High, I forget the name of the prophet who came into Jeroboam, the Ephraimite, right? Matter of fact, that's the spirit. Cause I really just looking at my notes that I got on this right here. Let's see. You can read about this in 1 Kings 11 and 12 as well too. Oh, right here, split the kingdoms, right? So Jeroboam, it's like I'm saying it wrong. He was the son of the king, the Ephraimite, right? And the Most High split the 12 tribes. He split the 12 tribes, and when the prophet came up to him, forgot his name. When he split the 12 tribes, right? He gave him he rent his garment, meaning he tore his garment into 12 pieces, representing the 12 tribes, right? As a matter of fact, just go to it. Let's see. Bear with me. Went this a few times, but hey, we're going to however many times the Spirit leads us into it, man. Let's see. Nah, it's in 1 Kings. It's later on down. Yeah, I hear this right here, right? I started 28. It says, and the man Jeroboam was a mighty man of valor, and Solomon, seeing the young man that he was industrious, he made him ruler over all the tribes of the house of Joseph. And Joseph and Ephraim is interchangeable, right? I want to say it's Numbers. I forgot the it's in Numbers, right? But Joseph and Ephraim is interchangeable, right? It said it came to pass that the time when Jeroboam went out of Jerusalem, the prophet Ahijah the Shilonite found him in the way. He had clad himself with the new garment, and they two were alone in the field, right? And Ahijah caught the new garment that was on him and rent it in 12 pieces, right? And 12 pieces represent the tribe of Israel, right? He said to Jeroboam, take thee 10 pieces, and this is the northern kingdom, right? Because when you go into it, they had the 2 golden calves, and when you read about so the 2 Kings 17, when you read about it, right, when they said Jeroboam letting their hearts away with the 2 golden calves, and they ended up being led captive to the Assyrians. Because you read about that in 2 Kings 13, where it talks about, merely paraphrase, the 10 tribes there to carry away captives, right, to the Assyrians, right? But it says, take thee 10 pieces, for this saith the Lord Yahweh, the power of Israel. Behold, I will rend the kingdom out of the hand of Solomon, and will give 10 tribes to thee. But he shall have 1 tribe for my servant David's sake, and for Jerusalem's sake, the city which I have chosen out of all the tribes of Israel. And that's, and a lot of people don't really understand that history. Even with when last week, at Apostle Romli, he was the Spirit on, he was doing a lot of lessons, going into the Gentiles, and he was mentioning a lot that if you don't understand that history of our people being scattered, the diaspora, a lot of those things, you don't really understand that the Gentiles are referring to the Israelites in that foreign state of mind, right? Because when you understand it, right, even when the Romans invaded Jerusalem, right, the northern kingdom was already over here in the Americas, right? They had already traveled over here to the Americas, right? Because when Solomon saw, like I'm saying his name wrong, he brought all those people into Samaria. They traveled, led away captive to the Syrians. Then they later traveled over here to the Americas, man, right? But it's history you gotta understand. But the point is, see, Jake don't understand his true history. Jake don't know nothing about his true self, right? My people are foolish people. Jeremiah 4:22. Jake don't really know nothing. That's why you have these people like the guy who at Apostle Hart was playing his video. They slow. That's why they have no faith, right? Because Romans 15:4 tells us what, right? Romans 15:4 says, for whatsoever things were written. For whatsoever things were written for whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience, right? Because it's a patient process, that we through patience and the prophecy be fulfilled, keeping that faith. James chapter 1, patience work of faith, right? We through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope. What is hope, right? Let's go to Hebrews 11, right? Now, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. See, these people don't have hope, right? What Scripture tell you, where there's no vision, the people perish. They have no spiritual eye to see this, right? Apostle Gabar says a lot, man. The Scriptures give us a glimpse into the future, man, right? Of what's to come. A prophecy, man. That's why you have the prophet. That's why you can't call yourself a prophet if you're not prophesying. See, the elders, they get on the highways and byways and prophesy. And see, people don't have the spiritual eye to see these things, understand things like reincarnation, understand the prophet's still here, understand the kingdom of Yahweh Shah are going to be brought to the Israelites. The Israelites are going to be put back to their true nationality. But the people don't know they're Israelites because they let Esau, Edom control the narrative of how they think and what they see, right? They're being controlled. That's why it's a spiritual thing, right? Their mind is sealed in that way, right? And they have no faith in Yahweh Shah. But let things get hard, let things get bad. Now they praying, now they trying to figure out. But as soon as things get normal, get good, hey, they turn it back from Yahweh Shah, right? And since we still in captivity, right? But Jake don't understand that. Jake think he can make his own way right now. Jake think he can get the money, all that, and he can build his own way. He build his own power right now. But he don't even understand we're in captivity, and they don't even understand the times to come. See, that's what's gonna really for Jacob trouble. And I'm saying that's gonna have Jake lost, confused, hurt, right? Because they doing all this scoffing and mocking against Yahweh Shah. And when the exact thing happened that Yahweh Shah put the spirit in his prophet to prophesy, they're gonna be looking stupid, and we're gonna be looking at you laughing, right? But that wasn't even the point of the lesson for me to go into that. The spirit don't mean the aspect, because these scoffers, these mockers, is getting old. If you don't believe, you don't believe. That's just your point. It ain't nothing. You can't turn your back from it. And what I mean by saying that is that you can't disown the shoe. You a Hebrew Israelite, whether you know it or not. If your father is a Hebrew Israelite, you are a Hebrew Israelite. It don't matter if you believe it or not. But as I said a lot, the more and more you grow into the truth, you understand that the truth is for the elect. We ain't trying to save everybody. We're trying to save the 144,000. That's why we on the highways and byways. We ain't not that specifically for you. Don't think you that special, nigga. Ain't nobody out there specifically for you. But if the spirit of Yahweh Shah is upon you, you're able to retain it, knowledge, understand it. The spirit leads you to the brothers, right? Spirit leads you to the elders. Spirit leads you to a video or whatnot, right? But you scoffers and mockers, it's getting old now, man. What y'all want? Y'all want a response? Y'all want us to fight, make a big team? But we not, because right here, right? Acts 5, right? In verse 39, it said, right? But if it be of Yahweh, right? Talking about this truth, this knowledge, this counsel, right? This ministry. But if it be of Yahweh, he cannot overthrow it, lest he have to be found evil to fight against Yahweh. You can't overthrow this truth. You can do nothing against the truth before this truth. You can't stop this truth, man. And you can try to create all the narrative. And the ones that believe, the ones who follow these scoffers and mockers who stand by their side, you reap what you sow, man. Right? You reap what you sow, right? We understand through the scriptures, they did these same things to the prophet, right? In Matthew 5:11, right? It said, blessed are ye, when men shall revile you and persecute you, and shall say all manner of evil against you falsely for my name's sake. Rejoice and be exceeding glad. See, that's what you don't understand. We glad if we speak on that. I mean, we doing it right, because they did these same things to the prophet. They did these same things to Yahweh Shah. So we're not running from it, right? This is the suffering, this thing that we endure, right? The scriptures tell us that we're going to be despised, right? It says, rejoice and be exceeding glad, for great is your reward in heaven. And that's what we focus on. See, people focus on the worldly. They focus on everything right here, right now. We focus on the kingdom of Yahweh Shah. We focus to be honored and glorified in the sight of Yahweh Shah. Our conversations in heaven. We ain't worried about what's going on down here. We don't care what men think down here, right? It says, so persecuted they, the prophets, was before you, right? So this is, this ain't nothing new under the sun. This been going on, right? Of course, we're gonna continue in the righteous faith, right? And and correct it for the sincere brothers and sisters who watching, who tuned in, right, or whatnot, right? The elect, right? So Paul said, right? I do anything for the. Let me go to it real fast. I don't want to quote it wrong. I want to say that's 1 Corinthians 4. Oh, it might be 2 Corinthians. I mean, it's like 2 Timothy. I'm in Timothy, talking about Corinthians. Bear with me, bear with me. I'm gonna get straight to the point. Okay, it might be in first, and it might be 6. Yeah, dang. 2 Timothy 2, right? 2 Timothy 2 and 9, it said, "Wherein I suffer trouble as an evildoer, even unto bonds," right? Throwing them in jail, right? "But the word of Yahweh is not bound, it can't stop the truth. Therefore I endure all things for the elect's sake, that they may also obtain the salvation which is in Hamashiach Yahushua with eternal glory," man. Right? So what you think we gonna do? We gonna endure all things, man. You can make videos, you can say whatever, we're gonna endure all things. Right? But point being, right, I'm gonna go back to Amos real fast, right? Because we were going into that, being restored to our eternal, being restored to our former glory, right? Read this again, right? And that day I will raise up the tabernacle of David, right? The elect, right? The elect will be raised up, right? It says, and all Israel will be saved, but right now Yahweh Shai coming for the elect, right? Most times I'm dealing with the elect because you see now, you see how his people act, you see how the people move, right? It says, "And close up the breaches thereof," and that's the split between the kingdoms, right? That's the split between the kingdoms. The kingdom's gonna be brought together. There ain't gonna be no more southern kingdom, northern kingdom. The kingdom's gonna be brought together, right? We're brought together as a nation of Israel, the Hebrew Israelites, right? It says, "I will raise up his ruins," because our homeland was destroyed, 70 AD. Our homeland was destroyed, right? It says, "And I will build it as in the days of old." See, Jerusalem was glorious back then, and it's going to be way more even glorious in the time to come. The Jerusalem is every city, which we just read in First Kings, right? Chapter 11, he said, and for Jerusalem's sake, my chosen city. That's the Most High's favorite city, right? And the kingdom, Jerusalem's going to be like the capital city in the kingdom, man, right? I got one more, right? It's the book of Haggai. Haggai chapter 2, and straight to the point, right? Verse 9, right? It says, "The glory of this latter house shall be greater than of the former glory," right? Because once again, we was glorious back then, but we're going to be even more glorious in the time to come. We're going to have it all, spiritual power. And this time, Daniel 2 and 44, this kingdom going to be brought up where you can't tear it down. This kingdom will not be, you cannot tear this kingdom down. You won't be able to, you won't be able to come against this kingdom. Right, we're gonna be the last rule. We're gonna be in rulership forever. We're gonna be rulership for eternity, man. Right? It says, "This glory of this latter house shall be greater than of the former." But once again, it was glorious back then. We're gonna be way glorious in the time to come. Right? Said the Lord, Yahweh of hosts. "And in this place I will give peace." Talking about the kingdom. It will be peace, happiness. Right? Ain't gonna be no more sorrow. Ain't gonna be no more scoffers and mockers. There ain't gonna be no more unbelievers. Right? Everybody will know the name of Yahweh outside. The laws and commandments will be instituted into the whole world, right? All nations will know it. And Israel, and for Israel, it'd be written in Israel's hearts and minds, right? So there ain't gonna be no more sin. It's gonna be a kingdom of righteousness. What's that? 1 Peter 3, right? It says the Lord of hosts, "In this place I will give peace," said the Lord Yahweh of hosts, right? So now I want to go to Zephaniah, right? And I want to go to the NLT, right? Because right now, see, Israel's that laughing stock, man. Right now, Israel's that laughing stock. Everybody, when you think of the so-called black man, when you think of things Mexican and whatnot, you think of like harsh things, bad things, cartels, drug things, that's it, right? But in the due time, even look at the Israelites now, right? The sincere man in this truth, right? They're being seen as evildoers, seen as goofy, things of that such, right? This is so I can bear with me. This is Zephaniah 3 and verse 19, right? It says, "And I will deal severely with all who have oppressed you. I will save the weak and helpless ones," right? And that's us, because we're seen weak, we're seen despised. And Paul said in Corinthians, we're seen as the weak ones, the despised ones, right? We're seen as the dumb ones right now, the foolish one, right? They're seeing us as that, right? The last shall be first, and the first shall be last, right? We seen that those ones who are foolish right now, right? It says, I will bring together those who are chased away, right? Because our people were scattered out all over, right? But our people gonna be brought back together. A nation, all elect, we brought back together, right? Even the Gentiles will be saved. It's elect amongst the Gentiles, right? You know, actually, we was all in the Gentiles state of mind at one point, right? It said, I will give glory. It said, I will give glory and fame to my former exiles, wherever they have been mocked and shamed, right? As I'm reading this in the KJV, it says, behold, at that time I will undo all that afflict thee, and I will save her, that her is referring to Israel, that houseth, and gather her that was driven out. Once again, 70 AD, right? Us being driven out of our land, right? The diaspora, right? Our nation being scattered all over, right? With the Solomons are breaking all those people into Samaria, pushing the northern kingdom out. Them lady coming over here to Americas, things that whatnot, right? Christopher Columbus coming over here tricking them in slavery, right? Our nation in total, both kingdoms being scattered out all over, right? It says, and I will get them praise and fame. And when the apostle Tahart went into the word fame, and fame is saying, and fame was going to the word name, right? It says, I will get them praise and name in every land where they have been put to shame, right? And when you understand it, right, it hit me in the spirit, just going into it, because we're despised everywhere, right? Let's see, let's go to that, right? We're despised. We're seen as the foolish. We're seen as clown. We're seen as the weak. The nations enslave us. The nations clown us, right? Matter of fact, first, if I go to Chris, I'm gonna go to Limitations, right? When they took our homeland, they was clowning us. They was laughing at us, right? It says, Limitations 2:15 says, all that passed by clapped their hands at thee. They hissed and wagged their head at the daughter of Jerusalem, saying, is this the city that man calls perfection and beauty, the joy of the whole earth? Right? They was laughing at us. They clowning us. We was the laughing stock, right? They was clowning us when Jerusalem fell, right? The nations were happy we were brought down as a people, right? We were the perfection and beauty during the time of King David and King Solomon. Look at us now, brought down as a people, the joy of the whole earth, right? Which what we're going to be again, right? You see that? And what we were just breaking out earlier, right? The tabernacle of David will be restored again as old. The joy of the whole earth. We're going to be put back into that position. We're going to be put back into that. Haggai 2:6, Amos 9:11, right? All thine enemies have opened thy mouth against thee. They hiss and gas their teeth. They say, we have swallowed her up. Certainly is the day that we look for. We have found and we have seen it, right? Certainly they was ready for this. They was ready to knock us off, right? It says the Lord had done which he had devised, right? He has fulfilled his word which he had commanded in days of old, right? And this showing you what, right? They know what's going on, right? The Lord had did what because the Lord told us that was going to happen, right? When he sent Yahushua down here to tell them, hey, y'all better get right. Yahushua was telling them, man, it's going to be a great evil coming upon y'all. Y'all don't get it together. And they knew that, right? He said he has fulfilled his word that he had commanded in the days of old. He hath thrown down and hath not pitied. He hath caused thine enemy to rejoice over thee. He has set up the horn of thine adversaries. Adversaries is one to enemy, right? But, right, this is showing you that Esau knows who the Heavenly Father is, right? Manifest destiny, right? He has pitied us now, right? Beginning with the elect. He's showing us the knowledge, understanding, showing us his mercies upon us. His pity is showing us by giving us his name, showing us who we are again, giving us the knowledge, understanding of why we into captivity, why we went into captivity, right? Baruch chapter 4, right? You were not sold into the nations for your destruction, but because you moved Yahweh to jealousy, merely paraphrasing, right? He's showing us his secret, showing us what he's doing to us. That's a sign of pity, right? He's showing us how to correct it. He's showing us how to get it right. Right, but the point is in verse 15 and 16, man, we're that laughing stock. They hissed at us. They clapped their hands at thee, right? They laughed at us. They walking by like, hey, oh, this supposed to be them perfect people? Look at them now, right? Let's see. Let's go to Ezekiel 36. Ezekiel 36, and I'll start at verse 1, right? It says, also, thou son of man, prophesy to the mountains of Israel, and say, Ye mountains of Israel, hear the word Lord Yahweh. If I'm not mistaken, Mount Israel were like going into governments, right? It says, this saith the Lord Yahweh, because the enemy has said against you, aha, even the ancient high places are in our possessions, that Jerusalem, right? They got our homeland, man, right? They took over our land, Jerusalem, right? Our enemy is Edomite, right? You know, and the point I also got in my note, that's why Jerusalem is going to be destroyed, because you got those funny those in our land, but we're going to destroy it and we're going to build it back up until the kingdom of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, right? It says, therefore prophesy and say, this saith the Lord Yahweh, because they have made you desolate and swallowed you up on every side, that ye might be a possession unto the residue of the heathen, and you are taken up in the lips of talkers, right? See, we read Zephaniah, Slack for notifications. Let's go back to this real fast, right? Read this again. And I will deal severely with all those, I'm reading in NLT, I will deal severely with all those who have oppressed you, man. Right? Most High go bring that recompense upon their head, right? It says, I will save the weak and helpless. I will bring those together who were chased away. I will give glory and fame. I will give glory in the name to my former exiles, wherever they have been mocked and shamed. Are they not mocking and shaming us? Right? Hosea, what is that? Hosea 1:10, if I'm not mistaken. Right? You know, in the place where you say you're not my people, there you shall be called my people. Right? Are we not mocked and shamed over here? Are we not being, are they not clowning us, going against us, scoffing and mocking us, treating us bad? Or that's not going on to the Hebrew Israelites over here? And this place is gonna be destroyed, right? And in the kingdom, they gonna know. They gonna know, right? They gonna know. They gonna be fear. They gonna fear us, right? They gonna be scared of it because we gonna be on one, right? We're gonna be on one, man. All the things they done into our people, or done to our nation, we gonna do it unto them, right? He said that you might be a possession to the residue of the heathen, and you are taken in the lips of talkers, and are the infamy of the people, right? I want to go into the word infamy, right? I want you to see, right? The state of being well known for something bad, quality, or deed, an evil or wicked act. And when and even when I remember El Apostle Gabar was going into this, even when he was going into this, it made me think of like how I was saying earlier, how the so-called black people are seen today. Not even just talking about the left, talking about the nation as a whole, right? The so-called black, so-called Haitians, so-called Mexicans, right? You see how they treat, like you see how they got them characteristics on us today, right? The so-called black, he just a gang of thug. You have the cartels, the little big cartels, things of that whatnot. You have the Haitians, they're so thugs, kill things that what, and our nation are going off, right? But we was never in the States. That's the mindset that Esau put out into the world. That's what they profess, right? If you watch that movie, They Clone Tyrone, you'll see with the music, with the chick, they know Jake pressure points all around. They know how to keep Jake in that mindset in that way, right? But once again, right, we're going to be put back into that joy of the earth. We're going to be put back into our righteous position. See, right now, Esau in control of people's minds and how people think that's who we are, right? But in due time, the Most High raise us up and He will give us a name. They will know us as the sons of power, right? The sons of righteousness, right? But to continue reading, right? I read infamy, right? Is the state of being well known for quality or bad, right? It says, therefore, ye mountains of Israel, hear the word of the Lord Yahweh. This saith the Lord Yahweh to the mountains, right? And to the hills, and to the rivers, to the valleys, to the desolate waste, and the cities that are forsaken, which have become prey and derision to the residue of the heathen that are round about. This saith the Lord Yahweh. Surely in the fire of my jealousy have I spoken against the residue of the heathen, and against all Idumea. And Idumea is a Greek way to say Edom, the Edomites, so-called white man, right? Which have appointed my land into their possession, right? Which have appointed my land into their possession, and try to tell us that we ain't the Jews. If we try to say something against them, we anti-Semitic, things as such. That's our land, right? It says, with the joy of all their heart, their evil work is what they do. Riches got by deceit, right? with despiteful minds to cast it out for prey. But that's why the Most High is going to destroy them, and that's why He gonna destroy them as well, right? So going back to Zephaniah, right, and this is really the point right here, and that's why I'm reading NLT, right, because this is really the point that I want you to see right here. And all we read that, right, them despising us, them hating us, them persecuting us, right, them doing all these things, beginning with the elect, the Most High is going to restore us right back into our righteous position, right? And they're gonna be so hurt when they don't see no white man with no blonde hair crack the sky. When they see Yahushua, so-called black man, right, and the angels come down to deliver His elect, right, and bring destruction upon His place, right. But this is really the point right here, lesson, right. Zephaniah 3:20. He said, "On that day, I will gather you together and bring you home again. I will give you a good name, a name of distinction among all the nations of the earth, as I restore your fortunes before their very eyes. Our Lord has spoken." Right? So we're gonna have He said, "I will give you a good name." All that scoffing the mouth, all that lips was talking, known for infamy, right? Them laughing at us, right? Clowning us. Lamentations 2:15-16, them coming against us, right? The Most High is gonna restore us and put us back into our righteous position, put us back into our righteous place, beginning with the elect, right? And then at that point, every nation, as you see it said, right? So that's what we'll tie this lesson, right? I'll restore your fortune. By the fact, it said, after the title lesson will be, I will give you a good name among all the nations of the earth, right? A name of distinction, right? Let's go into this word, distinction. Let's go into this word, right? A difference, a contrast, slimmer things of people. Excellent that sets someone or something apart from others. Holy, man. What is holy, man? Deuteronomy 76, holy, right? We're going to be set apart. Holy, that's why the law's commandments are going to be written in our hearts and minds, because the law is holy. That's going to set us apart. We're going to be righteous, man. We're going to be righteous, right? Ain't going to be no more sin. Hebrews chapter 8, right? Jeremiah 31. Jeremiah chapter 31, right? So we can, let's see, that First Peter, I want to read that, a kingdom of righteousness. Might be Second Peter. It might be 2 Peter 3 and 14, right? It says, 2 Peter 3 and 13, right? It says, "Nevertheless, we according to His promise, who is that the Israelites, Romans 9 and 4, right? Look for new heavens and new earth wherein dwelleth righteousness," man. So we're going to be put back into our righteous position. Everything's going to be righteousness, man. Even us. We're going to be back known as the sons of power. We're going to be back known. We're going to be perfect. We're going to get out this corrupt body. We're going to get out this flesh and be changed to spiritual bodies. We're going to be perfect. And that's going to begin with the elect. You have Yahushua, King David. You have the elect, sincere men in this truth, right? So for you scoffers and mockers, man, you're lost, right? But the Most High will give us a good name. All this clowning, matter of fact, I had another precept. It's like I wanted to hit. The how about Yahushua for bringing that back into me. Let me see. Yeah, 1 Corinthians 1 is Paul talking, right? We start at verse 27, right? It says, "But Yahweh has chosen the foolish things of this world to confound the wise," right? Because we're seeing the foolish, and Esau and them, they seem like the wise, the scholars. You got to go to school, know this. He chose the foolish, because you don't need no Harvard degree, no Howard degree, no big degree, no masters to understand the knowledge of truth. Once you're chosen by the more up, 26, right? The latter part of it says, "Not many mighty," not many noble or called. Because you don't need all that to understand this truth. Once the Spirit of Yahweh shall come upon you, right, you're called in this truth, right? And Most High revealing to you His deep secrets, right? It says, "But Yahweh had chosen the foolish things of the world to confound the wise. And Yahweh had chosen the weak things of this world to confound the things which are mighty," right? Because we're seen as the weak, right? "And the base things of this world and the things which are despised," and we are despised, man. You see it. We despise those the talkers of lips, infamy, right? They clown us, right? As we read, right? It says, "Hath Yahweh chosen yet the things which are not, to bring to naught the things that are," right? So Yahweh had chosen. He had chosen the despised, man, right? He had chosen the weak, right? And that's us. We're seeing weak down here, right? But in due time, gonna be put back in that position, and they gonna know. They gonna know the power of Yahushua, and they gonna fear the elect because he's the power of Israel, man. They gonna fear Israel, and we gonna rule the nation with rod and anger, man. We gonna rule the nation with a rod of iron. We gonna be on them, right? So with that being said, Lord willing, hope this lesson was edifying and exalting, and I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Rakakadash. Double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. And shout out to the whole Fuller, starting with the 144,000. Shalom.